A different voice now, an important voice. Tzipi Hotovely, I'll get that right. Help me here, Lisa. Israeli ambassador to the United Kingdom joins us this morning in her busy schedule as well. Ambassador, 6 years ago, in the conversation of the politics of Israel in the United States, you spoke about Jews in America leading convenient lives. I thought it was a brilliant comment of the distance of Israel from Judaism in America. Speaking of convenient lives in America, are our convenient lives, have they been shattered?
I think, in a way, every Jew in the world, his life's been shattered after what happened in the last 48 hours in Israel. I want to tell you from a personal stories, because for me, I've been in Israel when the war started, and my husband and my 2 daughters are still in Israel. I just received my daughter's in a shelter at the moment because Tel Aviv is under rockets attack at the moment as we speak. And this is horrendous. We've never seen anything like that. And I'm speaking as someone who was experienced. I was part of the Israeli government. I've seen terror attacks in my life. And I must say this is unprecedented, the way Hamas barbarically acted against children, against young women. We're speaking here about war crimes being committed by Hamas. In the last 48 hours, the Israelis and the international community are exposed to those. I don't even have the words to explain how bad those atrocities are. And the videos on social media that I'm sure you've seen some of it. I've just seen the latest of a young Israeli child walking in Gaza, and Palestinian children are beating him up. Those are things, I mean, think about it. It reminds us dark times in the Jewish history. And this is our obligation, our first obligation, to fight back and to make sure Hamas will never have the ability to act against Israelis.
Ambassador Tzipi Hotovely, how are you responding to the fact that this is really creating a whole host of tensions around the world that have become sort of ethnically focused on both sides? It really has erupted debates and protests and anger on both sides. How would you like to angle the conversation to be able to foster something more productive?
I think that this is time to fight and to defend the people of Israel. And I think whoever saw the fact that 1,000 Israelis were killed in cold blood cannot speak now about both sides. There is one side here who's the side that wants freedom, democracy, cares about human rights, cares about people's life, which is the Israeli side, and there is the other side. This is good versus evil. This is so clear here that we are fighting in one of Israel's darkest moments. We are fighting evil that the world haven't seen since the Second World War, and we need to fight it. It's a terror organization recognized in the US and in the UK, and many people are comparing to 9/11. And I heard many people that are making the equivalent numbers with the proportion. When you think about Israel as a tiny country, just 9 million people, it's actually 10 times of 9/11. And the disaster that the country is experiencing, this is something that any country in the world should support Israel now. We've seen Israeli flags here in London. We saw the British Parliament colors itself in blue and white. We saw number 10 Downing Street with a huge Israeli flag projected on. This is the time to support Israel. The international community should understand that if Israel is not protected, then the whole Western civilization is not protected, because those horrible things backed by Iran can happen everywhere.
Ambassador Hotovely, what do you make of some of the reports of Qatar, of the United Arab Emirates, of Egypt even acting as some sort of intermediary to negotiate hostage releases?
Hostage release is a very, very important mission at the moment. We call again Hamas to release every single individual, children, women, elderly women that were kidnapped by Hamas. Some of them were tortured, and we've seen horrible again videos and images that are coming from Gaza, and they are committing those war crimes, and the world must stop them to commit those war crimes. They need to release the people being kidnapped.
Ambassador, your politics is clearly to the right. That is the way it is established within the Israeli media and, of course, in the United Kingdom.
Let me help you with that. Yeah. I'm ambassador. According to the Israeli system, when you become a diplomat, you're representing the whole country.
That. Yes, of course.
I don't follow at the moment, the Israeli politics as a politician. I'm ambassador. I'm representing Israel.
Ambassador, I was talking to our Stuart Wallace about this news of a coalition or combined government within Israel. That is in your wheelhouse. Can that be successful? And how will a combination of Israeli politics be successful in prosecuting this war?
So first of all, it's clear both to the Prime Minister and to the leaders of opposition that there was never bigger necessity for a unity government in Israel than at this moment. And I speak on behalf of every Israeli. Israelis are united now. Israelis fight together, shoulder to shoulder. We see so many gestures coming from Israelis, want to support our soldiers, want to support the people that need help at the moment in Israel, that are in the front line. So they want to see the same reflection in our politics. And I'm sure that a unity government will happen and it will be the reality. I hope sooner the better.
Ambassador, the Arab community speaks to different sets or different cohorts of Palestinians. Can the Arab nations assist Israel in speaking to Palestine away from Hamas?
You know, this is not something new. I mean, this is a process being going on over a generation. And in the last few years, as you know, there were dramatic breakthroughs between Israel and the Arab world with the Abraham Accords, with the ongoing negotiation with Saudi. So we are in times where the Arab world wants to be close to Israel and the Middle East is changing. Unfortunately, this radical ideology that Hamas is leading based on ISIS mentality, this jihadi ideology, look at Hamas charter, look at what they want to do. They want to kill basically every single Jew. They don't recognize the right of Israel to exist. So when this is Hamas ideology, this is ideology must be fight. You can't negotiate with these people. You can't have peace with Hamas. You need to fight back because they started this war and Israel will win this war.
Ambassador Hotovely, what do you make of some of the discussion around Iran? And there's been a lot of dancing around, that they have backed Hamas, but that they weren't necessarily directly involved in executing it or orchestrating it. How important is that going to be, the determination of that, to determine the next step for the Israeli government?
Well, obviously, Iran is involved, and obviously, Iran is the big brain behind activating its proxies. But at the moment, we have this war to win. The war against Iran is something bigger than that, but the international community should know the real face of Iran and its proxies through those atrocities that Hamas committed in Israeli innocent people, including children and elderly. Can I say something? Just because my country is now in a point where almost 1,000 funerals are going to take place in the coming few days. This is a number we've never seen in our lifetime in one day. The president said yesterday that since the Holocaust, we never experienced a reality where so many Jews were killed in one day. And I'm looking at those stories. The Times has in the front page the Keene family, Jonathan and Tamar, their beautiful twins, their son. They were all murdered in one day. Think about those families that were destroyed because of this barbaric attack. I think this is the day to mourn with the Israelis that lost their dear ones, their loved ones, those children being executed in front of their parents. Those are days to support Israel, and I think this is why I'm coming here to speak to you and all the people that care about the future of Western civilization. Israel is in the front line of this Western civilization, surrounded by very radical people, and we need to fight back, and we need the world's support in this very justified war.
Ambassador, thank you so much for joining Bloomberg today. Ambassador Hotovely is Israeli ambassador to the United Kingdom in our Queen Victoria Street studios.